Man, what a week in the gaming world. We've got two completely opposite stories hitting at the same time. On one side, you have one of the biggest publishers out there in what looks like a full-blown crisis. And on the other, a different company is out here painting this super ambitious, exciting picture of the future. We're going to break it all down. Let's jump in.
So it all revolves around a name you definitely know, Ubisoft. They've just announced this massive company-wide reset. Now, that's a nice, clean corporate word, but trust me, it's hiding a way more dramatic story full of cancellations, major delays, and some truly eye-watering financial losses.
Okay, so what does a reset like this actually look like for the games we've all been waiting for? Well, think less of a gentle course correction and more like someone just slammed on the emergency brake. And yeah, there are some pretty big consequences for some of their most hyped up projects. First up, the cancellations. Ubisoft has officially pulled the plug on 6 different games they had in the works. Now, most of these were unannounced, a mobile city builder, a title in a franchise we already know, and 3 brand new IPs. But one of them was a very big deal. That's right. The Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake. It's officially gone. This is a game they showed us way back in 2020, and it had already been in development for over 5 years. So what on earth went wrong? So that's the official PR line from Ubisoft. But, behind the scenes, reports started coming out that QA testers were telling journalists that the game just wasn't great. It really seems like after all that time and all that money, the project just wasn't shaping up, and they had to make the tough call. But hold on, the bad news doesn't stop there. On top of those 6 canceled games, Ubisoft has also delayed a whopping 7 other unannounced titles. And yep, you guessed it, one of these is another major, highly anticipated game. The remake of Black Flag, which is a huge fan favorite, was apparently on track for March 2026. Well, that's now been pushed back by up to a full year. We're now looking at a release sometime before April of 2027, which just completely throws their future schedule for a loop. And all of this, it has a massive, massive financial impact. Because of all these cancellations and delays, Ubisoft is now forecasting a loss of $1 billion for this financial year. I mean, that is just a staggering number that really shows you how deep these problems go. Now, this is what really puts it all into perspective. This isn't just a bad week or a bad month. If you look all the way back to 2019, Ubisoft's market cap, that's basically the total value of the company, was almost 10 billion euros. Today, it is absolutely plummeted by 95% to just 500 million. It's a truly catastrophic drop. So what's their big solution? It's this new creative house structure. They're basically reorganizing the whole company into these 5 distinct groups to try and get more focused. But there's another theory floating around. By grouping studios and big brands like this, it could also make them a whole lot easier to sell off, piece by piece, if things get even worse. And this really gets to the core of the frustration, which was highlighted perfectly by commentator Jor Raptor. After a 95% drop in value, a $1 billion loss, and a pile of canceled and delayed games, the leadership team that oversaw all of it, they're still there, totally unchanged. And that's a huge point of contention for a lot of people right now. So, as all this drama is unfolding at Ubisoft, a completely different story was being told over at Microsoft. While one of the industry's giants was stumbling, Xbox was busy painting a much brighter vision for what's next. All right, let's shift gears and talk about the Xbox Developer Direct because it was a totally different vibe. This was a showcase that was just packed with new gameplay, exciting dates, and a really clear look at what's actually coming to their platform. We saw a bunch of cool stuff. We got a look at Beast of Reincarnation from the folks who make Pokémon, and its combat looked surprisingly deep. We got confirmation that the next Foresight Horizon is set in Japan, and it's coming soon, May 19th. But really, the undisputed star of the whole show was the long-awaited deep dive into Fable. Look, Fable is one of the most beloved RPGs of all time, right? So this reboot has a massive, massive weight of expectation on its shoulders. And this Developer Direct was finally our first real look at whether or not they can actually pull it off. And they came out swinging with some incredibly ambitious claims. One of the biggest was about the game world itself. They're saying it's going to have over 1,000 unique NPCs, and every single one of them has their own 24/7 schedule that you can actually follow in real time. That's a lot. And this slide really sums up the whole conversation around Fable right now. On one hand, you have this incredible, mind-blowing ambition, right? A world with 1,000 unique people, buying homes, starting families, making choices that actually change things. But then, you look at the gameplay they actually showed, and you see some little red flags. The combat felt a bit floaty, without much impact. Some of the character animations were a little janky, and the frame rate in the demo was definitely struggling. Now, a rough demo isn't the end of the world, but it does make you ask the question, is the ambition writing checks that the tech can't cash just yet? So, while Xbox is looking towards its confirmed, if maybe a little too ambitious future, the rumor mill started churning about another huge franchise. To round things out, let's take a look at a rumor that popped up this week, and honestly, there's some pretty compelling logic behind it. Okay, just look at this timeline. Jedi Fallen Order came out in November 2019. The sequel, Jedi Survivor, dropped 3 years and 5 months after that. So if you just apply that exact same development timeframe to Survivor's release, it points directly to a third Jedi game coming out around September 2026. And this isn't just fans doing math on a whiteboard. The rumor really caught fire when Tim Geddes from the popular Kinda Funny Games cast was just talking about this exact theory, and he let this little phrase slip. I've heard some things. He kind of tried to walk it back later, but you know how it is. For a lot of us, the cat was already out of the bag. So there you have it. That's the gaming landscape right now. You've got a legacy giant like Ubisoft seemingly fighting for its life, a platform holder like Xbox betting everything on huge, ambitious new games, and then in the background, you've always got those rumors of a beloved series making a return. It all kind of leads to this one big question. Which of these stories, the crisis, the ambition, or the return, is going to be the one that defines this entire generation of gaming?